Hot topics rolling in, the stories you need, from breaking news flashes to celebrity tea. With a smile.
Good morning, it's Saturday. Let's start the show.
Your weekend scoop, it's Lady Roll. Hot topics rolling in, the stories you need, from breaking news flashes to celebrity tea. With a smile and the truth, you'll always know what's buzzing today with Lady Roll. Go! The Saturday morning scoop, the Saturday morning scoop. Wake up the week and let's gather the group. The Saturday morning scoop, the Saturday morning scoop with Lady Roll. Bringing it all to you. Start your Saturday right with Lady Roll Insight. Start your Saturday bright with Lady Roll Insight. With Lady Roll Insight. The Saturday morning scoop, the Saturday morning scoop. Wake up the week and let's gather the group. The Saturday morning scoop, the Saturday morning scoop with Lady Roll. Bringing it all to you. Start your Saturday bright with Lady Roll Insight. With Lady Roll Insight. Start your Saturday bright with Lady Roll Insight.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I hope you guys can hear me. Please put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. I'm outside today. I thought I would do my live from the back porch, from the, as my husband calls it, the man cave. He has a whole setup out here, but it's a beautiful day, and I really thought I'd come out and get some sunshine. Good morning, Kashara's Kitchen. Good morning. I said what I said. Thanks for joining me this morning for our Saturday morning scoop. Please like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. We're going to get right on into today's content. Oh, it is so pretty out here. It's a little warm, but I'm sitting in the shade. Thank you, God, for that. Hope the neighbor's dogs won't start barking. They got about 15 German Shepherds over there, but hopefully they won't bark and I can enjoy sitting outside on the back porch, on the patio for a moment, because baby, they get loud. Today we're going to talk about a few things I have found in the publications for us. Cardi B, she released her new album. We're going to talk about Hollywood legend Robert Redford passing away. We're going to talk about Shamiya Martin's husband, Gerald Mwangu. We're going to talk about Malcolm Jamal Warner. We're going to talk about the Alicorp Group. We're going to talk about the FCC director, which has a little bit to do with Jimmy Kimmel. We're going to talk about the state of Kentucky. We're going to talk about Melania Trump and that hat she wore when they went to Windsor Castle for the UK state visit. We're going to talk about Black women and how they are perceived as the most educated. We're going to talk about Jasmine Crockett and Kash Patel in his congressional hearing. We're going to talk about why they want to ban Black history. We're going to have a message from Stacey Abrams, and we're going to talk about Karen Huger, something I saw on the TikTok this morning. So let's get started. We're going to start with Cardi B. Looks like this morning, looks like yesterday she released her album, as we know. And you know what? Let me go ahead and type this up while I'm thinking about it. Because I was intending to do this before I started, and I didn't do it. All right, I think I have it. Okay, so let's give me the disclaimer first. Good morning, bad girl Riri. Copyright disclaimer under Title 17 USC Section 107. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips balance the in favor of fair use. So this is my fair use disclaimer for today, and we're gonna get started with what we done found out here in the publications. Good morning, Alicia. Thank you guys for joining. Let's go over here and let's see what Cardi B had going on this week. As many of you know, she dropped a new album. I guess it dropped midnight yesterday, so Friday midnight, so in the morning time. And baby Cardi B is out here doing the darn thing, and people mad at her, but I don't understand why they mad. They should probably just get over it, because Cardi B is Cardi.
No, I'm just really scared. Like my stomach hurts.
So Cardi B was in. Good morning, Lucy. Cardi B was in New York City, and Stefan actually surprised her with a bouquet of roses, and I guess they just called her out. I just chipped a nail coming out here. They called her out to. This is why I don't never get dips. This is exactly why I don't get dip polish. I'm happy she's happy too. So this week, Cardi B released her sophomore album, Am I the Drama? She announced that she's pregnant with her fourth child by her boyfriend, NFL player Stefan Diggs. And I just played the clip of Stefan surprising Cardi with flowers for her album release. And guess what? Cardi B's album actually went platinum in 24 hours, y'all. We got to look at this. Girl, Cardi B, she's out here just acting up. Cardi B, look what you done did, girl. So let's look at it. Yes, Cardi B's new album, Am I the Drama, has already gone platinum, achieving this milestone in the U.S. in under 24 hours, the fastest a female rap album has ever done so. This was made possible by the inclusion of her hit single WAP and Up, which were featured on the album and counted towards its sales. So guess what? Cardi B has already went platinum, and she just released that album a little bit over 24 hours ago. So I am happy for Cardi B. Shout out to Cardi B for hitting platinum after only after releasing her album in less than 24 hours. Y'all, that is amazing. That is a great thing that she has achieved. Next on our list, we're going to talk about Hollywood legend Robert Redford. Robert Redford passed away this week on September the 16th at the age of 89 years old. He passed away at his home in Utah. I think the place where his home was called was Sundance Mountain or something like that. Sundance Mountain in Utah. It may have been named after him. As we know, Mr. Redford is the founder of the Sundance Institute. The Sundance Institute is a nonprofit organization dedicated to discovering, supporting, and inspiring independent artists and storytellers from around the world. It was founded by Robert Redford back in 1981, and it is widely known for producing this annual Sundance Film Festival. So if you ever heard about the Sundance Film Festival, this is the guy who is behind it. Robert Redford was an amazing actor in his day, and he will be missed. He will be missed because he actually gave a lot of African-American independent artists and actors and actresses a start in the film industry. So we're going to really, I guess, we owe him some homage because he has been very instrumental in making sure that African-American films can move forward. Next, we're going to go, a mosquito. See, this is why I don't come outside, because I don't play with bugs. Yeah. See, we done packed this little laptop up and we be back in the house. Um, Next we're gonna talk about Gerald Mwegu, husband of Shamia Morton from Love and Lord have mercy, talking about Love and Marriage, Real Housewives of Atlanta. If you know, if you've watched Real Housewives of Atlanta, you kind of know who I'm talking about. But I wanna make sure that we clear up some myths that the people done put out here in the publication. Um, so someone, let me go to this one first. Someone decided they would go to Facebook, and they created this whole post on the 18th of September. Today's the 20th, so this would have been on Thursday. They released this, and it says, RHOA is rocketed by scandal as Shamia Morton's husband, Gerald Mwangi, faces explosive $1.7 million tax evasion case. And it shows a picture of Shamia and her husband. I just love this couple. The Real Housewives of Atlanta has never shied away from drama, but the latest scandal has fans questioning whether the reality series has crossed into uncharted territory. Shocking court documents revealed that Shamia Morton's husband, Gerald Mwegu, is at the center of a staggering 1.7 million dollar tax evasion case that could send him behind bars for years. Prosecutors alleged that Gerald's masterminded a calculated scheme involving hidden bank accounts, offshore transfers, and a web of deceit that remained undetected for years. Let's see, did I miss something? For a franchise that drives on jaw-dropping moments, this revelation, I don't know why that didn't sound right. It just didn't sound right. Revelation, there you go, is being described by insiders as one of the most explosive financial scandals the Housewife franchise has ever seen. The Bravo universe is reeling, the viewers flooding social media in disbelief. We tune in for shade and fashion, not felony charges, one stunned fan wrote on X, formerly Twitter. The scandal couldn't come at a worse time for Shamia, who only recently began stepping out of the shadows of her castmate to solidify her place as a central figure in the Atlanta lineup. Known for her glamorous lifestyle, quick wit, and close ties to Portia Williams, Shamia now faces an unthinkable dilemma, balancing her carefully curated reality TV persona with the very real possibility that her husband could end up behind bars. Legal analysts warn that the case is no mere slap on the wrist. If convicted, Gerald could be looking at years in federal prison and crippling financial penalties. Sources close to production say cameras are already rolling as the fallout threatens to spill into the upcoming season. Producers live for this kind of real life drama, one insider confessed. But the question is, will Shamia stay and face it head on or retreat to protect her family? The Housewife brand has weathered scandals before, divorces, affairs, bankruptcies, but a multi-million dollar federal tax evasion case could push the boundaries of what fans expect from their favorite guilty pleasure reality show. As the cast prepares for another turbulent season, one thing is clear: Atlanta has never seen a storm like this. Bravo has yet to issue an official statement, but fans are already bracing for the chaos. For Shamia Morton, the glittering lights of reality TV fame may now be dimmed by the shadows of her husband's alleged crimes, and the camera will be there to capture every shocking second. Well, as I know, and as I have looked into, that is all a lie. It's all a lie. It is all a lie. Okay. Let's go ahead and look what I found. It's Gerald Mwango under investigation for tax. Let me tell you something. People out here reporting this BS. It don't take but a second to vet this mess to find out if it's true. While several posts from social media and celebrity gossip websites in mid-September 2025 have claimed that shut up. Gerald Mwango is under investigation for $1.7 million tax evasion scheme. There is no evidence of an actual credible investigation. The reports appear to be based on unreliable sources and have not been confirmed by legitimate news organizations or legal authorities. And then the context behind the rumors, and it tells you Gerald Mwago is the husband of Shamia Morton, a cast member of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. The claims of tax evasion and FBI raid originate on social media and celebrity gossip sites that are not known for their journalistic integrity. Other posts in response to the rumors have stated fake news and whack website lying on folks. No official charges, indictments, or statements from the IRS or Department of Justice have corroborated these rumors. Reliable news outlets like Bravo TV and Yahoo have only reported on Mwago's personal and business life. No mention of tax scandal. A different Gerald Mwago was charged with a tax crime. In January of 2024, the U.S. Department of Justice did announce charges against a different individual named Gerald Mwago for employment tax crimes in Kansas. This case does not involve Shamia Morton's husband and is not connected to the recent rumors. Caution regarding the validity of the claims. The stories about RHOA tax scandal likely spread due to the high public interest in the lives of reality TV stars. Without official verification from legal authority or confirmation from credible news sources, these claims should be viewed as skepticism. What did this thing say that they are? What? Skepticism. I'm just going to put it out here blatantly and say it's a lie. It's a lie. Y'all stop reporting. Stop spreading this mess. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie from the pit of hell. That's what it is. It's just a lie. And we're not going to spread no lies. Amen. Amen. Let the church say amen in the words of Andre Crouch. We're going to stop spreading these lies. We're going to let this mess. This got to die. This got to die. Let me see what y'all talking about over here. A lot of pleasantries. Good morning, Satin Baby Doll. That's why he didn't want to be on TV. He didn't want to be on TV because he don't want to be on TV. At the end of the day, it's all a lie. The man ain't did nothing. People love to make up lies. I think the man's shy because if you notice, he's a very withdrawn guy. Even when Shamia be all over the internet, he's not doing that. It's just her. So I really feel like, I hope that y'all can hear me and this wind isn't too much. Let me know if the wind is too much. But I really believe that none of this is true. I think people just like to lie on people, and that's just it. Next, we're going to talk about the Accelor Group. It's a group out of Texas that actually employs several people. And I found this on LinkedIn. Texas layoff wave grows as Amazon contractor cuts jobs. Another slew of mass layoffs is set to hit a logistics service company as Texas continues to brace for job losses and a weakening economy. Accelor Group, LLC, announced plans to eliminate 107 positions in Tarrant County and 107 positions in Dallas County. According to news reports filed under the Workers Adjustment and Retraining Notification, which is the WARN Act. The layoffs will take place at the company's Amazon Logistics location in Fort Worth and Balch Springs. The positions that will be impacted include delivery associates, dispatch managers, a helper, hiring manager, fleet supervisor, and operations manager. Delivery associates will bear the brunt of the layoffs, with 206 of the layoffs being workers in these positions. Cron reached out to Accelor Group, but did not immediately receive a response. The layoffs will take place on November 1st. Hundreds of layoffs hit Houston area last week. Y'all live next to an airport. And I guess one of the helicopters decided it wants to crank up and take off. Houston area last week after a language interpretation service company announced plans to lay off 355 employees due to a merger. The slew of layoffs across the state comes as the Federal Reserve recently announced an interest rate due to growing concerns over a lagging labor market. The central bank's benchmark rate saw a cut by a quarter point, setting the rate at 4% to 4.225%. Job growth has continued to stall in recent months. Namely, the economy lost in jobs in June for the first time in 4 years. The unemployment rate has also been on the rise as policymakers say the economy is teetering on the edge of recession. So, y'all, I hope can y'all hear me? Because I don't know. It sounds like that plane or that because helicopters are primarily over there. It's a care flight station over there, but they do have little planes, little crop dusters over there that like to fly out, honey. When I say like I'm right next to the airport, like I could probably spit and reach it. Okay, thank you. Thank you for being able to hear me. So a Cellar group is laying off 214 people by November the 1st. A group in Houston is laying off 55 people. So the Texas workforce is going to be losing over 500 people to the workforce because of the decline in our economy. Sitting outside in these allergies, honey. So that's something that we all need to take into consideration is that job loss is still happening in this country. Tarrant County, Texas is losing a lot of people. They're losing a lot of jobs. So it's getting bad out here, you guys. So beware. We may have to start looking for jobs in other counties, and people may have to start moving out of Tarrant County. I'm all for it. Dallas County, I'm all for it because baby, we packed around here. Let's see where we want to go next. Let's talk about Malcolm Jamal Warner for a second. The wind just picked up. I did not know it was this windy when I decided to come outside. I may just go inside or sit on the patio, but I'm still gonna catch the wind on the patio. I'm sitting out in the yard up under the umbrella, but I don't know. We're gonna keep trying it. We're gonna see how far we go. Let's talk about Malcolm Jamal Warner. As many of you know, his mother did a sit down with Robin Roberts from she's on the Good Morning America, I believe, is where Robin is. And I'm invoking the fair use. Let me put my clicker down here at the bottom.
When you think of your son?
Oh, that smile.
I heard you say when you were first told, and you live in a cul-de-sac, and you let out a scream.
Yes.
That people from the end of the cul-de-sac came running.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. It was from the bottom of my soul, and what came up and what came out was huge. It was an undescribable pain that resonated throughout my body.
Why were they in Costa Rica? What was the purpose of
his
trip?
wife and daughter had been in Costa Rica 3 weeks prior. She's homeschooled, and this was part of an immersion program. And so that was the last week was for the husbands to come, and this was the fun part. It was an undertow. And my son was not an experienced swimmer. He did not know how to deal with an undertow.
What you have known, she was on
shore. She was not in the water.
She was not in the water.
He was with another gentleman. The same thing happened to the other gentleman, but he was a more experienced swimmer, and he was able to rescue himself. But Malcolm was not. That's the physical part of it, but the spiritual part of it was that was his time. That was his time, and that was the manner in which he was to transition. And this is what I believe and what I feel. Very grateful that I was chosen to be his mother. I think more than anything, I'm at peace with everything that happened. There was nothing left on the table. There was no shoulda, coulda, woulda. I wish I had said this. I wish I had done this. I don't have that.
How are they doing?
Children process differently. She watched them resuscitate him, try to resuscitate him. So she saw that, and I know that's awfully, awfully traumatic. She loved her father dearly. She adored Papa. He was Papa. So they're both in deep grief.
What is it that you would want to say to those that you know have reached out to show their support and their love for you and for Malcolm? What is it that you want to say to them?
I'd like for them to continue to support his legacy and support the MJW Living Legacy page, and love where you can, give when you can. Just be better. Just be better, because that's what he wanted and that's what he was working toward. We can all be better selves.
And if you did not find that heartbreaking, I don't know. You cannot have heart. You guys, I moved inside. I just couldn't sit outside and keep getting bit by mosquitoes. I just couldn't do it. Give me 1 second. Let me set all this up so that I can look halfway decent for you guys. Because, when I said the mosquitoes was tearing me up, whew, my whole leg is hurting. All right. Now I came in here and sat in front of this light. So she not only did a interview with Robin, she also did one with Tamron Hall.
Conversations, and they were goodbye conversations, and we had no idea these were goodbye conversations. And so I smile because I'm filled with gratitude. I'm grateful that we had those conversations. There was nothing left on the table. We were so good. There's no shoulda, coulda, woulda. There was no, I wish I could have said this, should have said this, should have done that. We were so good. Even before, we were just in a groove. We were in a space, in a real wonderful space, because we've been working together for almost 50 years. Yeah. So.
I'm so struck, though, because you said we had a goodbye conversation, but you did not know.
Did not know.
What was that conversation?
We talked about, he shared with me a video, and it's on, I guess, TikTok. There's a therapist speaking to a therapist, and she's talking about her trauma. And she describes the incident where she was traumatized, and the other therapist said, were you able to speak to your mother about it? And she said, no. He said, that's where the trauma was, not the event, but the trauma. That was the trauma, because you had no safe place to go to. You did not feel safe, and you couldn't go to your mother to talk about it. And so we were talking about his daughter and different things, and I asked him, I said, at any time did you ever not feel safe with me? He said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And then we went on to talk about some other things. And the last text I wrote to him was that him feeling safe with me as a child meant more to me than all of the love and respect that I knew he had for me. That a child can feel safe with their parent is so very, very important. And that was a goodbye conversation, because after that, what else is there?
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. When I tell you I enjoyed watching her interviews. I thought both of the interviews were great. They were heartfelt. And we will miss Malcolm. I think Malcolm Jamal Warner did so many things behind the scene as director, producer of different things that many of us were not aware of. But the Emmys did honor him. And we're just going to close out this little Malcolm segment with the Emmys and Felicia Rashad as she honors Malcolm.
Malcolm Jamal Warner remains in our hearts. He was a beloved teenager in an iconic television series who the world watched grow into manhood. As is tradition at the Emmys, we remember them not just for their immense talent, but also for the way they made us believe in something bigger, the best that is within us. And even though they may no longer be here with us, we can all smile, knowing that their impact will remain, knowing that their lasting impressions will continue to live on through story, knowing that they touched our lives.
Yes, may Malcolm's memory live on through history. We are grateful to have even had him as a child star, as an adult. Rest in peace, Malcolm Jamal Warner. Whew. All right. Let's get on to something maybe a little bit more lighthearted. The state of Kentucky decided that they would crush a $100,000 Hellcat. And I found that very interesting. Let me hold on for a minute. Let me go over here and talk to my people. I'm just going on and on, spitting out stuff. Good morning, Miss AKA. Good morning, Dee Dee Hill. Good morning, Brown Girls Rock. Why am I Black Girls Rock? Good morning. You need skin so I do. You know what? I have all kinds of repellent around here. I just didn't put any on because it was like last minute. I was like, I'm gonna go sit outside and enjoy my water outside and just get some fresh air. And child, the mosquitoes decided they would join me. Anyway, life. But yeah, I definitely, next time I go out there, I'm gonna know better to spray myself down. Because when I tell you up on that table, I got bumps on my leg. They would just tear me up. Yes, Miss AKA, I hope you're feeling well. You're coming along. That's right, girl. We need you to get back to 100%. Praying for you daily. But let's go over here and see what these people done did over here at the in Kentucky.
LMPD crushed this seized car today. The $100,000 Hellcat Durango is now mangled metal.
WDRB's Samantha Condra tells us the message police are sending to stop illegal street racing.
This is the aftermath. A car valued at $100,000 crushed. LMPD says the reasoning is to put a stop to street racing and street takeovers in Louisville.
We will seize your car, and if it's not legal for the streets, we will crush it.
Symbolic. That's what Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg and LMPD Chief Paul Humphrey called this public crushing of the confiscated car.
This is a message to people who want to go out here and participate in this dangerous behavior that we are not going to tolerate it on the streets of Louisville.
Humphrey says so far this year, LMPD has seized 35 cars compared to 70 in 2024. That's when LMPD took more illegal street racing cars off the streets than any other year in Louisville's history. In 2023, 62 were taken. This crushed car was seized at the 2024 Street Rod Nationals while it was parked. It was taken because officers identified it as a car that was involved in street racing. The 2021 Hellcat Durango is made up of several different stolen parts from around the country.
Engine, the frame, the body, they're all from different cars. And so for that reason, this car is not street legal and cannot be put back out on the street.
Humphrey says the owner of the car didn't know it had stolen parts and didn't participate in the street racing, so no one was charged. But because the car isn't street legal, LMPD decided to show what may happen if they have to take your car.
We're going to crush all of them that meet the criteria for us to be able to crush. And if something changes in the legislation that allows us to do it more, we'll do that.
Samantha Condra, WDRB News.
Shout out to DRB News in Louisville, Kentucky for that. But, ooh, chat. So the car was worth over $100,000. It was a Dodge Durango. It had a Hellcat engine, but all of its parts were made up from other stolen vehicles. So there you have it. That's why they crushed it. Otherwise, they would have sold it in a sheriff's auction and made them some money off someone else's car. But because it had stolen parts on it, they crushed it. You say, heck no, that's crazy. That's wild. Definitely crazy. Definitely. Y'all, this week while I was floating around the news, the publications, I saw this. I don't know if anybody else saw this, but I saw this and I thought it was crazy. So I took some screenshots from different pages and made me a little TikTok compilation. Let me show you this mess. Y'all look at y'all first lady. Look at her. Melania Trump. Melania Trump went to the UK and they did they went to Windsor Castle for the UK state visit. The Trumps did. And so, honey, she had on this hat. I just want y'all to see this one more time. Let me see if I can get a still shot of this one. Look at this. Just look at this. Somebody come and look at this. Look at this. Look at this. At first I thought this was like someone had photoshopped it, but this is actually what she was doing here at this place. Child. Y'all president and his little side piece, or whatever she is to him, his wife. Y'all remember, I don't have no president. I'm solo this year. But I'm gonna show y'all some different compilations.
I'm sure President Trump and Melania will be thrilled that it was William and Catherine who are greeting them firstly.
Donald Trump there
Who
having
chose
just
this
landed
hat?
in the last few moments here in Windsor for a historic second state visit.
So now we are seeing the president accompanying the king and inspecting the Guard of Honor. A moment that will have thrilled President Trump with his Scottish ancestry to listen to the pipes there at Windsor Castle.
As well as the pomp and ceremony today, there are protests taking place. These are live pictures from central London from a demonstration organised by activists from the Stop Trump Coalition. Another extraordinarily impressive military part of today. The choreography, planning, the timing there at the moment of the fly past.
The senior royals, yes indeed, and the President and First Lady are now making their way into St. George's Hall.
Our countries are working together in support of crucial diplomatic efforts.
I'll tell you that I just stood in line and shook about 150 hands. And the king knew every single person and every single company. I was very impressed with that.
Anyway, as you notice, when King, whatever his name is, I don't even care. When he was up there talking, it was seriousness, but the moment Trump started yapping, everybody just started laughing. When I went to London, I never forget when I got in the cab, the guy goes, "What do you think about your president?" And I was like, huh? You know, I'm trying to get my luggage in here so I can get to my hotel. He goes, "What do you think about your president? He's a joke." So people in London they ain't feeling Donald Trump at all. But hey, ain't my president, y'all president. And I'm solo this for the next 3 years. I don't have no president. I'm trying to get my life together, so I'm solo. But let's move right along. I saw this morning and I thought I just had to share it. I had to share it. Let me get my screen going. Y'all, look at our girl. She back. She's back. She's back. Look who's back in town, y'all. This is a little quick one. Oh, no sound.
Hello, ladies. I am the hair doctor.
Look at old Karen. Look at old Karen, baby. She getting it back together. I love that for Karen. I'm glad she is out and she's getting back together. Hopefully we will see her on the show. I may have to crop that out because it is some copyrighted music that was done there. Trying to see, is there anything else I want to talk about before we move on? But I did want to see, I saw that about Karen and I thought I want to address that. Let's talk about the FCC director and what he has done this week to Jimmy Kimmel.
Moment of peril, dire peril in America. Because yesterday, Donald Trump said he intends to put a dagger through the heart of what America is about when he said that he doesn't believe in free speech, that maybe the licenses and ability to speak of people and broadcast companies that disagree with him should be taken away. When Donald Trump says the FCC should consider revoking licenses of networks with shows and hosts who are against me and who give me only bad publicity, he is talking about a dictatorship. That's what dictatorships do. They shut down anyone who has any disagreement with them. But that's what he's threatening to do today through Brendan Carr. He said, I would think maybe their licenses should be taken away. It'll be up to Brendan Carr. That is censorship. It is disgusting. It is a violation of the First Amendment. What Trump is doing comes right out of Xi and Putin's playbook. Where are our Republican colleagues? They know this is wrong. Silence, obeisance to Donald Trump's destruction of free speech and democracy. He is launching in broad daylight an attack on one of the most basic freedoms in America, which is free speech, and it's being channeled through his flack at the FCC, Brendan Carr, who coerced ABC to suspend Jimmy Kimmel for his comments that he or Trump didn't like. For the longest time, everyone, Ronald Reagan on down, have defended free speech. But if you lose freedom of speech, it's the road to autocracy. Mr. Carr is one of the greatest threats to free speech in American history. He must resign immediately, and if not, Trump should fire him.
All right. What do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that? Do you think that free speech is under attack? Do you think that Brendan Carr should be removed as the FCC director? What do y'all think? I really am interested in that. I'm really interested to see if people think, because I'm gonna be honest with you. First, let me put this out there. All views expressed in this live are alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes. We just over here cackling and just having a good time. But I really believe that freedom of speech is under attack. I really believe that. This week alone, I believe there were like 33 people who were just famous people who were fired, removed, suspended for what they've said regarding Charlie Kirk. Whether it was good or bad, they've been removed from their jobs, so on and so forth. I believe last week I spoke about everybody being careful about what they said because of the very fact that I had a friend who actually had gotten called into his office at work because of what he had posted on Facebook regarding Charlie Kirk. So I do believe that freedom of speech is under attack. And if we start actually attacking our basic freedoms, which is one of them, it would be freedom of speech, what else will, fall behind that? What else will we lose? Because that's just the tip of the iceberg. What else will go behind that? So I really want us to talk about that. Think about that. Do you believe that freedom of speech is under attack? If you do, why do you believe that? And then I think that will start a conversation that we need to actually talk about over here on YouTube. I think if you have a platform, this is one of the best places to actually talk about why we think that the issues that have faced the world are happening today. Let's move right along. Yes, Brown Girl Rock. I'm glad Karen is okay. I like Karen too. I'm glad she's home. I'm glad she looks good. That is actually the guy who does her hair. And I follow him on TikTok. And when I saw him post her yesterday, I thought, I've got to share that with the group. She looks good. You said that wig looks crazy. Oh, y'all, whose wig is that? I don't know. We don't play so many things. And I probably should have been looking at the chat more. But yeah, she said, cousin, it vibes. Oh, Miss AKA, that hat did give Cousin It vibes. Definitely did. Definitely did. You so heck no, that's crazy. Baby, yes. Yes. When I tell you, a miss. Yes. You said, I think they're targeting those commentators who speak against Donald Trump. I think so too, Brown Girls Rock. I think that the people who are being fired as of what we see lately are people who probably have not had some of the best information or conversation or commentation or commentary regarding Donald Trump. And they've already had a target on their back. And this just gave them an excuse to fire them, maybe. Because also I believe that, because I saw a young guy who was suspended from a university, I want to say it was Texas State University, because he mocked Charlie Kirk's assassination. And the president, there was a picture posted on a website, Facebook, and they actually went and I think the president said, find this guy. They found him and he suspended him because of him mocking it. So I really believe that when we get to freedom of speech, it's free for some people and not free for others. So I think it incorporates a lot of different factors, but I definitely agree with that. You said Trump. Yes, exactly. I absolutely believe freedom of speech is at risk. It's very clear. Yes, ma'am, Batgirl Reaper. It is definitely clear. It is under attack. That man threatens citizens all the time. And then, I've been watching people talk about, if you really listen to Charlie Kirk, he really wasn't racist and that he really had a lot of good values for Black people. I don't see it. I don't see it. But before we end this live today, we're going to talk about this whites only town in Arkansas. And I forgot to add it to my stuff that I was putting on here this morning. But we're going to chit chat about it because I think it's worth talking about. Because here's the thing. I believe a lot of times people want access to the resources that African Americans bring to the table without wanting African American and people of color to sit at that table, right? You want to utilize the things we've created, the things we have the knowledge to do, but you don't want us actually to be there to enjoy the table. But we're going to get on to that in just a little bit. Saw this on the internet and I thought that it was worth the share. So I'm going to share this. Let me add this to the studio real quick. Let's go.
Post that Black women are the most educated demographic in the United States. It never fails to trigger the most insecure men who think so highly of themselves, because they don't believe that Black women are the most educated demographic in the United States. And I don't blame them, because they also see the reality that Black women are the lowest compensated demographic in the United States. They get paid less than any other demographic in this country, even though they hold more college degrees than every other demographic, and they are more educated. Black women hold this country on their shoulders, and it is the most racist, cancelable take that I have, that Black women hold this world on their shoulders because they are the most oppressed class demographic. They are the best educated. They are the hardest working. They are the most intelligent. They are the last to be believed. Kamala Harris, everything she said would happen is happening. But for some reason, this country finds it so hard to believe Black women, even though they see the reality. They deal with the reality of the world, of systemic injustice every single day. So thank God for Black women in this country, because not only are they the most educated demographic in the United States, they're the most competent, most intelligent, and we should be thanking God for Black women.
I saw that and I was like, man. And if you just read some of the comments, I'm gonna read some of them. In fact, let me reshare this so you can read them. You can see them just like I see them. Black woman here. I have a doctorate, 2 masters, a BA and a BS. You hear this? Black woman here. I have a doctorate. There's not very many people with a PhD, 2 masters, a BA, a bachelor's of what is it? Bachelor's of art and a bachelor's of science. Then this person says everyone hates us. We all 100% overqualified for everything. Kamala is one of us, yet she wasn't good enough to lead this country. Black women are the backbone, with the being in all caps. My daughter started her PhD program at 20. Most professional Black women I know have masters or doctorates. Retired, got bored, started a PhD program. Come on, Miss Taylor. Black women with a doctorate here, 4 degrees total, and you are correct. During President Clinton's re-election, a YT guy, when asked who he was voting for, he said with no irony, whoever Black women are voting for. This 1996, mind you, he said Black women are the most educated voter base. This lady, Miss Jean, said currently in a doctorate program. Let's go, ladies. America is a racist cesspool. I had to get a master's just to be considered for jobs others got with an associate's and a bachelor's degrees. Thank you for recognizing our worth. Yes, we are. I live in Atlanta. Everybody has degrees, multiple. I have a JD, which is a Juris Doctorate, and 2 master's degrees. You better go, Melissa. We don't care about the accolades. We really just trying to get the bag. It's frustrating. I have 4 degrees, and my coworkers have certifications. Do you hear that? Certifications. The racists make me cry. Then I grab my 4 degrees and dry my eyes. And then my daughter cries. And she takes her bachelor's degree, her pending master's, and her stacked resume, and she dries her eyes. You better go, JTB. 4 degrees here. We kept being told to be more, so we kept educating ourselves just to end up being paid the least. Y'all, when I tell you Black girls rock, we rock. We rock. Brown girls rock. I know that's right. Brown girls rock. Every time I see that name, I think about that. We rock. I love us some us. But the very fact of the matter is that regardless of how educated we are, we have to prove that we are able to do the job. When someone is sitting up thinking that we just get the job because of DEI or other reasons, that's never it. We have to prove that we can do the job. I will never forget back when I was growing up. First school I applied, nursing school I applied for. I had passed the test. I had really high scores. The lady even told me when I passed, she said, your scores are really good. You're going to get into the class. They not only did have to take the test, you should be able to get in on merit, right? But no, you had to go do an interview. I went and did the interview. They called me in to do a second interview. This is for nursing school. This is not for a job. This was just to go to nursing school. I did the second interview. A few weeks later, I got a letter saying that I wasn't chosen to be a part of the class. I'd already applied to another school, got accepted. So that didn't really bother me. But what bothered me was years later, and I want to say I still have this letter somewhere in my filing cabinet. Years later, maybe 4 or 5 years later, I get a letter from a class action lawsuit, and it's asking me to be a part of this class action lawsuit. So I'm like, what is this? The school was being sued because out of their class, I think they were accepting like 24 nursing students. It was a small nursing school. 24 nursing school students for each semester or each nursing term, because that group will go through for the full 2 years. They were only accepting out of the group of 24 2 African Americans. And I didn't know that. I just knew that the lady told me, oh, you scored very high. You're going to get accepted, until I went and actually took did the interviews, and I didn't get accepted. So now I know that I didn't get accepted because of the color of my skin, which I didn't know at the time. So when I tell you that we have to be overqualified and we have to really be assertive, and thank God my mom named me a name that isn't Shamika or Tamika or anything with an Ika on it, sometimes would keep you out of a job. And I don't know, I just feel like we just get sometimes the bad end of the bargain because we don't do the part to because they won't accept us in, as though we're not educated, as though we're not qualified. That's just my spill on that. Good morning, Michelle. Thanks. Ooh. Good morning, Michelle. Thanks for joining the chat. You said I'm in the bushes headed to Alexander's. Thanks for being here. We are so smart. We are so kind. We so pray. Yeah, definitely. We're so pretty. Oh, you said we get prayed on as well. Prey, prayed on. It's a play on my last name, and at the same time, it holds truth. Exactly. It holds true. We do rock. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, I love that. And speaking of Black girls rock, y'all, let's go over here and see the next person on the list to talk about, and that is Miss Jasmine Crockett, as she addressed Congress this week, talking to Mr. Kash Patel. It's a 7-minute video. We're going to play it in its entirety. Shout out to YouTube and CBS for this.
Man, oh man, there has been so much today, and I truly don't know where to start. So I'm just going to make sure that we start off with a few facts. So a couple of facts that we need to make clear for everyone is that, number one, Director Christopher Wray, when he was appointed to be the head of the FBI, was appointed by Donald Trump. Now, I will agree that I definitely take issue with a number of decisions that Donald Trump makes, especially when it comes to the people that he decides to appoint to very important positions, including this one, because I did have to make sure that I wasn't going crazy. But when I say that you are the least qualified FBI director in the history of the FBI, that is real, because you are the only one that never even served with the FBI prior to joining. Yet we are supposed to believe that you are the greatest thing since sliced bread. I didn't ask you a question. Now, what I want to go through is to talk about why you are a failure and why, honestly, we just need to tell you bye-bye.
I didn't ask you a question, boy. Oh, y'all, we have to love Jasmine. Have to love Jasmine, baby. Come on, Jasmine.
I know that you got a little upset and you put on your show for your boss because it seems like you're trying to save your job when it came to talking to Senator Booker yesterday. But let's go through some of your failures. So before you were even confirmed, and I think one of my colleague from Georgia, pointed out that you were already targeting career officials so that you could direct illegal firings. Mind you, these cases that you were so upset about, which are the ones tied to Trump, the cases came through his handpicked FBI director. And frankly, when people sit around and say things like, oh, we're happy because now we feel safe. I don't know who feels safe in this country except for the white supremacists, because I specifically as a Black woman definitely don't feel safe.
Y'all feel safe in America? Somebody tell me, because I be wondering sometimes when I leave the house, is this even sometimes being at the house, is this a safe place to be? I jokingly say it when I went to Africa, I was over there scouting out places to move to, but in all actuality, should we be scouting out places to move to? Because we got to really think about this. America can be scary. I've been to several countries, Africa, I've been to Thailand, I've been to Dubai, I've been to Bali, I've been in Indonesia rather. I've been in, different places, London, been to France, I've been to, the UK, of course. I've been to Jamaica. I've been several places in America. I've been to the Caribbean, St. Thomas. I've been to all those little places. And I see how what they consider third world countries versus America. And a lot of times I've gone places and say, oh yeah, I'm ready to go home. And then I've gone places and be like, do we have to go home? When I was in Thailand, I literally was at the airport going, I don't want to go home. I really could live here. Indonesia, same way. I literally cried in Indonesia. I was like, I do not want to go home. Africa, I think I was kind of ready to go home, but I enjoyed Africa, right? So my thing is that we consider some of these countries third world countries. Thailand, the money isn't as great as it is in the United States, but the people are so sweet. The economy, you could buy a little bit of money goes a long way in Thailand. In Indonesia, a little bit of money goes a long way in Indonesia. When I say that we live here and we are taxed to the max. In Africa, when you buy your property, you pay taxes one time. You don't pay taxes every year. You pay taxes for other things, food and different things that you get throughout the city, but you're not constantly paying taxes. In America, you are taxed. Everything you do is taxed. Your food is taxed when you go out to dinner, when you go to the grocery store. Here in my state, they don't actually tax food at the grocery stores, but you pay taxes on toilet paper and household goods. Anything you buy is taxed. Your home, you pay property taxes, and you pay insurance, homeowners insurance. And even me and my husband were talking recently about our homes and how that when we bought them, we paid X amount of dollars for them, and then our principal and interest is this amount now, right? And we got so much we're paying so much in taxes and insurance that it is superseding, really doubling what we're paying in principal and interest on our homeowner or on our mortgages, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's to say the least. And I believe it was last week when Queen Script was talking about the hierarchy of needs. We have a hierarchy of needs for a reason. It's because the body needs several things. And when I can't get them, guess what I do? I get out here and I start trying to obtain those things. So is America really safe? That's a good question. Back to Jasmine.
And frankly, my colleagues have been real nice to you today, and I applaud them, but I don't have the same demeanor because I know that multiple colleagues on this side of the aisle have faced death threats. In fact, somebody tried to kill one of my colleagues. And frankly, I don't know if this FBI or under your leadership, if those people would have been caught. I don't have any confidence in you. And if we start talking about the reasons that I lack confidence, we could start with you not just wanting to acknowledge some simple facts. Simple facts.
And let's be honest, Jasmine is right. If the family members hadn't have turned in the young man who actually committed this atrocity, would they have been caught? Because we kept getting different stories from these people, the FBI, from all these different leaders. Oh, it was a trans person. Oh, it was this, and it was this, and it was this. And none of it seemed to have been true, because even now we're still like, well, what happened to this one? Well, y'all said it was this. And none of those things are ringing true at the moment. Let's get back to Jasmine.
It's like the vast majority of the threats are coming from right-wing extremism. And I know my colleagues have tried to stress this, but I decided that I would maybe do it in a different way. Number one, I have a couple of UCs. Ken Buck, one of multiple Republicans receiving death threats for voting against Jim Jordan as House Speaker.
Without objection.
Another one, Republican lawmaker says she received death threats after voting against Jim Jordan in Speaker's race.
Without objection.
In addition, there was another one from another colleague who now is leaving Congress because they said that they were calling his wife anonymously and threatening her life to the extent that she ended up sleeping with a firearm.
Now, this is normally exactly Brown Girls Rock. We do need her to run for president, but I don't think that now is the time for her to run. I think that Jasmine probably needs to move on up to the Senate. She needs to move on up to the Senate so she could actually become Speaker of the House one day. We need her voice. But here's what I think my takeaway from just this part right here is that you have people in Congress who are scared. Our representatives are scared. Our Congress women and men are scared. They're scared of what may happen to them because we saw what happened to the Minnesota congresswoman, the state representative, House representatives. So I believe they are frightened and they don't really know what to expect or what to do. And then with all that being said, they have a right to feel safe as well. And I believe that is what she's trying to convey to Kash Patel, is that as House of Representatives, congressmen and women, Senate, they need to feel protected. And when you don't feel like your your FBI director is competent, how protected do you feel? And so I definitely agree with what Jasmine is saying. Let's go back to it.
Okay. So here's the deal. How are we supposed to have confidence when you're sitting up here telling the Senate yesterday that it will take you 14 years before you can get the FBI fully staffed to do their jobs? You're also now redirecting resources so that they can go and play ICE agents on the streets.
She said 14 years. He doesn't have 14 years because once boy leaves office, someone else is going to probably direct someone else to be the FBI director. That's normally how that works, but let's move on back.
You're getting rid of your most qualified people. And even when it came down to somebody that you consider to be a friend, you were posted up having some fancy dinner to the extent that you posted not only once erroneously, you posted twice erroneously as it relates to catching somebody. And then you want to go and say, let me take a victory lap. Because honestly, if it wasn't for parents deciding that they were going to turn in their child, it seems like y'all wouldn't have got there, even though he literally confessed online.
So this is what I was talking about. The very fact that really, we're just going to cut to the chase. The FBI had no idea who they were looking for, although they had a video of him scaling a building because they got out here maybe prematurely and just start saying, well, this is what we're looking for. This, and this. And none of those things pan true. If they hadn't turned this young man in, would they have found him? Probably not. So that does show some incompetence.
So I'm confused about what it is that the FBI is doing, except for trying to put on a show for The Apprentice or whatever you want to call him. The day after all of this took place, there was domestic terrorism that was taking place at HBCUs. They were targeted. Yet I didn't hear anything from the FBI about what was going on. And again, Black people kept saying, how did we end up in this?
I posted that on my social media. How did we end up in this? How do we end up in this? Why were y'all targeting HBCUs? Why were y'all sending death threats to these different universities? And then I even read somewhere, oh, that was a hoax. It was a hoax. So we're supposed to think that because you said it, that it's not true? Oh, of course not. We're going to protect our children. We're going to protect our youth. In fact, I saw a lady online that said her child was at college. She called her and she was like, hey, get your stuff together. I'm on my way to pick you up. She went and picked up her kid from the university and brought her home. She said she just could not rest with her child being at whatever HBCU she was at. I want to say it was North Carolina A&M. Or is it ATT or A&M, whatever the university up there is. But she said she went and picked her up. She said, because I couldn't rest until I knew she was at home. But you telling me that we're just supposed to take this as, oh, that it's not real?
Because the numbers are so very clear that white supremacy is a problem. And honestly, I've not heard anything out of you today that makes me believe that you're going to do anything about the white supremacy problem. The one that is leading to children being killed, children being shot, as well as members of their community as they're worshiping in their churches.
The time of the gentlelady has expired. If the gentleman would like to respond to any of that. Well, I mean, I'll
Child. Now he want to respond. Child, let's move right along. He ain't talking about nothing. The very fact is, North Carolina A&T. That's it. Thank you, Brown Girls Rock. And she's like, I gotta go get my kid because I can't sleep. I can't rest. And that's crazy. You should be able to send your kid to college and trust and relax that they're gonna get what they went for, which is their alphabets, and come back in one piece. Just really crazy. Right, bad girl Riri, with all of the CCTVs available, and you had no clue who this was. No clue. Oh my goodness. My daughter graduated from HBCU too. The big old PV down there in on the other side of Houston. And I will tell you this, as bad, this clues in also to the Black women being the most educated. As hard as we give HBCUs, they are tough on their students. My daughter told me, I went to Prairie View and I realized I didn't know nothing. I said, what? She said, Mom, I was in honors classes in high school, and I get to college. She says, I really thought I was smart. And I get to college, I'm like, I am not smart. Thank you, God, that she got her bachelor's. Praise you, God, for that. I'm happy I graduated from a. Come on now, Miss AKA. Exactly. And I'm going to tell you this. When my daughter came to me and told me she wanted to go to Prairie View, I was like, no. No. Find somewhere else to go. And she's like, why? And I said, it's a party school. You're not going to go down there and get your education. And that's not what I want. I want for you to get your degree. And she goes, oh, Mom, I want to go. They had parent orientation. I took her with me. We actually had buried my father-in-law. So we had to drive. We left because my father-in-law doesn't live in the state we live in. He lives in the state over. He didn't live. And so we went to the funeral. After the funeral, the next morning, we got up like 3:00 in the morning, headed to PV because we had to be there by 9 a.m. And when I tell you that when I drove on that campus, something just hit me. Beautiful campus. Something about the culture. The kids are in the middle of the street with chalk writing welcome back to PV. And when I got out my car and walked with her over to the big building to sit down, and y'all, I just cannot even, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. I can't explain it. It's something about that culture. And I felt like I owed it to her to go there. I owed it to her for her to go there. And so she went to PV, straight from high school to Prairie View A&M, and graduated from Prairie View A&M. She is a Prairie View A&M alum. And I am so proud to say that my baby went there. And one of my friends graduated from Grambling and with her bachelor's and got her master's from Prairie View. I was like, why did you do that? They're rivals. And she was like, hey, HBCU, I just did both. It is a great institution. And I will tell you this, one thing that she did do was when she had issues in class and she couldn't get it, and I would tell her, go talk to your professor. And she did. She learned to build relationships, those bridges with those professors so that she could get out of school. So she could get the education that she went there to get, and they got her out of school. Learning to bridge those gaps. Find out you're in Comp 1 or Comp 2 and you just can't get what the professor wants, because it happened to me. I don't know what this professor wants. I'm writing the papers the way he says to write them. Actually, Comp 2, that literature, because with lit, you may get this understanding from it and they may get this. I can't think like you. I think like me. So you have to try to get in there and figure out with the way they think. So when I tell you, when she went to PV, I found that so amazing. I found that campus so amazing. She said, I did too. Johnson C. Smith, all right, come on, Brown Girls Rock. My daughter went to Western Michigan. Okay, all right. Son went to school for free. IT degree. I know that's right. Come on now. PV. When I tell you Bad Girl Riri, PV energy is something else. Let me tell you something. They have homecoming. It'll be next month in October. Last year was my first year going to homecoming because, of course, my daughter, oh, well, I don't want you down there, yada, 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 all the whole time. And her best friend's mom was like, hey, Lady Ro, why don't you ride down here with me to the homecoming? And I'd be like, my daughter don't want me to come down there. she don't want me on campus. I don't know what they down there doing, but she don't want me to see it. And she's like, I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. Last year, I went to the homecoming just for a few minutes. Y'all, oh my God, they have a good time. They have a good time. The next morning shows how much of a good time they had. And it's all over the TikTok. Just scroll PV homecoming afterwards because they have a good time. That's a stigma they put. It is a stigma that they put on us. But when I tell you that I realize PV wants you to get your education. Get your education. You can party, but you're going to get your education. And I'm going to tell you the next thing that I love about Prairie View A&M University down there in Prairie View, Texas. The very fact that the alumni give back. My daughter got alumni scholarships, the alumni foundations, different things. And so when she graduated, I told her, you become a part of the alumni group and you give back to the university because guess what? Someone helped you get your degree, right? She's like, you're right, Mom. You're right. So that's something you pay it forward, baby. Keep paying it forward. It's a great institution. Great. My mom is a tissue. Come on now. Come on, Texas. Yes. So I really think that that's just some of the things that we get. Terry Ellis from En Vogue went to okay. I didn't know that, but that's good to know. I will tell you last year at the PV homecoming, was it Kendrick Lamar that was there? They had a guy that came in and did their morning concert before the actual, I want to say it was Kendrick Lamar. Came in early, did the thing before the game. And I don't know how many of the people even go to the game because they spend all the time out at the different food trucks, walking around the campus. You can't even get on campus. When I say you go to PV homecoming, you have to park. It's at least a 10-mile hike to get to the campus. That's how far you have to park away from campus. And you see the cars, the fancy ones, the Porsches, the Maseratis, the Rolls Royces with PV alums on the back. When I tell you it is a vibe, it's just a vibe. It is my 25th class. Okay, all right. Come on, 25th class reunion. You know what? And I really think that's something we probably need to, and I think I will explore that. HBCUs and the culture in encouraging people to go attend these HBCUs. We know that recently, I want to say Trump said he was giving some money. Let me see if that was true. To HBCUs. Oh, yeah, it was true. So he defines minority colleges and gives a boost to HBCU. So we'll look into that in just a moment, honey. So maybe we'll give them some money. We do know that Prairie View, my daughter has given me the history of Prairie View. Prairie View they didn't want African Americans going to the private white university. So they created Prairie View. It was a piece of land that was donated, and they gave them they had this little shack down there because they said that, Black people couldn't learn. African Americans can't learn. So they expected Prairie View to fail. It did not fail. And the very fact that their alumni keeps giving money to the institution and it has endowments is what's keeping it going. The government has since stopped giving money to Prairie View. We're always the least to get anything, but Prairie View has built, as my daughter said, the Baby Dome, which is their stadiums. I could go on and on about Prairie View, but Prairie View is a beautiful institution. Great if you're considering colleges, throw that one in, or you know someone considering colleges, throw that one out there at them. I always encourage your young people you want to go to HBCU because it is out there. To my understanding, the government is cutting funding for HBCUs. That was my understanding as well. But because I keep up with stuff that I see on the news, and I did go to the White House page, I'm going to show you what Donald Trump has said. He is going to give money to HBCUs. Let's go to this next thing I have to show us. Why? This is why they are banning Black history. I found this on TikTok. I thought it was something that needed to be seen. So let's see it. Let's watch it.
They ban our history because Black history, by definition, is political.
That's right.
Because Black people, by definition, are political, right? Our history is political because every story of American greatness, every story of American exceptionalism you want to tell, here we are off to the corner. Say, how do you explain us?
That's right.
If all this is true, why are we here? If all this is true, how do you explain how you suppressed our rights for 350 years? How you bought and sold our ancestors? How you claim to be democratizing Europe, but denying violently democracy for Black people here. So we're the most inconvenient people to the story of American exceptionalism. Right. So they want to ban our history because we give lie, right? We reveal the lie of this country.
Right.
And we are heroes of that story. So what the research shows is that when you teach Black children Black history, they do better academically.
Absolutely.
This is not shocking.
That's right. It's right.
Right? If you see yourself in the story, then you have a powerful sense of who you are. Sure. And I know, this is why they ban our history, because once I got a little taste of Black history, I became incorrigible as a student. I was challenging everything, right? I would go up in social studies like, where are we? Why aren't you talking about this? Right. What about this, right? And so all of a sudden, you don't just accept. This is why they ban our history.
This was I found on the Byron G. Nelson TikTok. And I'm sure you could find it if you wanted to see it more. I didn't get all of it. That was a portion. But it's true that African Americans, studies show that when we are taught history, we learn more. My grandson, I remember talking to him, he's 11, and I was saying, why aren't you, what's going on with the social studies? Why aren't you learning social studies? He's like, it's hard. I was like, it's not hard. It's just history. Oh, Granny, it's hard. It's so hard. I said, is it hard or is it boring? And he said, it's boring. I said, well, we got to make it fun. And I started talking to him about history. But I think a lot of times if we don't teach, I love history. Okay, so people didn't know. I love history. I love museums. I love to go and just explore things. That is just who I am. But I think when we teach our children history, where you come from, it makes them understand a lot more. My mom, like I said last week, really, you say your daughter teaches 7th grade history. My sister teaches history as well. My sister, and she loves it. She spits it off like it's nothing. In fact, I may get her on here to chit chat with us about some history. But because when I say she can give you Texas history like nothing, this happened there. Oh, that's not why. Let me show you. And so she'll make you back it up. Yeah. And when I tell you that history to me is something that is very important. I told us last week, I talked about my grandmother and my grandfather being from Arkansas and what they instilled in us, the legacy that was left. I never met grandparents, but what they instilled in my mom and and dad instilled in us. But I will say this last year when we buried my mother, my little nephew, who had never been to, I guess he had been to Arkansas to visit for maybe a family reunion, but had never been to the cemetery. We have a little family community cemetery down there. And I found him wandering throughout the cemetery, and he came back and he said, I feel at home. I feel a calmness out here. And I said, what do you mean? He said, it's like I can connect the dots. This is where I come from. This is my people. And I was amazed because I never thought of it that way. And when he was saying it, my little nephew he's so amazing. He's just an amazing human being. He actually, if you ever see a person on TikTok named Ashton Ray, that's my nephew. He has over 2 million subscribers, but he is an amazing, he's not showing you he's probably the smartest side on TikTok because he's a comedian, but every time you see him, he has a book. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he's probably about 20, 21. He's a little kid to me. But one of the smartest people you ever want to run across. He is a sponge for knowledge. So I think that that's one of the things that we have to do is we have to give our children their history. They have to know where we come from, what it was like growing up in America for African Americans back in our grandparents' day and our great-grandparents' day and our great-great-grandparents' day. You say your daughter teaches in Memphis. You know what? Memphis is a hard group. So I'm going to pray for her every day because I know she probably needs the prayer to deal with those children in Memphis. In fact, to deal with children across the world. Children are not like they used to be. And that's another one of the things I've always said. When they integrated us into those schools, they took away a lot of what we learned. We learned more when we were taught of our own. My mother, like I said, good morning, Queen Scrap. Thanks for being in the bushes. My mother often told me of the story. Her primary education was done in a community school that was across the street from their church in the country in Arkansas. And it was all African American. Her cousins, who were older, much older than she was, had went off to college at UAPB, another historical Black college, and had came back home to teach them. And they taught them in that school. And then when my mother left there, the bigger high school was done at an African American high school in the same city. And she always talked to me about how much more they learn. She said they are. And I could only imagine. Look, Bad Girls Rock. Brown Girls Rock. When I say I can only imagine, I couldn't teach school. The first day they would escort me out the door because I'd be like, shut up, sit down. No, don't do that. Because I just, my patience is not for kids. But thank God he gave me patience with older people because I have a lot of patience when it comes to that. Let's see what I have. I don't have much left to show us. I do want to watch or read what the president is saying regarding HBCUs. Fact sheet: President Donald J. Trump promotes excellence and innovation at HBCUs. Advancing HBCU excellence today, President Donald J. Trump signed an executive order to promote excellence and innovation at historically Black colleges and universities, HBCUs. The order establishes, and this comes from the whitehouse.gov, the order establishes a White House initiative on HBCUs housed in the executive office of the president to enhance HBCUs' capacity to deliver high-quality education to a growing number of students. The initiative will prioritize private sector partnerships, institutional developments, and workforce preparation in high-growth industries like technology, healthcare, manufacturing, and finance. Child, they already do that. Where you been, buddy? The initiative will enhance HBCU's capacities by supporting an implementation of HBCU Partners Act, fostering research and program excellence, improving affordability and retention, and building pipelines for students to attend HBCUs. The initiative will work to address barriers to HBCUs receiving certain federal and state grant dollars and to improve their competitiveness for R&D funding. The initiative will convene an annual White House Summit on HBCUs to foster collaboration and address key priorities for HBCU success. The order establishes the President's Board of Advisors on HBCUs within the Department of Education, comprising leaders from philanthropy, education, business, finance, entrepreneurship, innovation, private foundation, and current HBCU president. Empowering HBCUs for America's future. President Trump supports our nation's incredible HBCUs and their critical contributions to opportunity, innovation, and the economic strength of the United States. So, y'all, I am laughing because the Yorkie is down here and I think they took the bell off the back door. If you know Yorkies, they like bells. They hit the bells to go outside. She keeps going. She comes to me and looks at me and goes to the back door. So give me a second. Let me let her outside. Oh, when I say, if you ever own a Yorkie, you understand how temperamental they are. She's super temperamental. Very, like, life revolves around her, everything. And if she doesn't like something, she throws a tantrum like a child, literally. But on that fact sheet, let me finish reading it. Yeah, it's a bunch of who shot John. It's nothing important. Nothing important. But we'll see. Hopefully that Donald Trump will give some money to HBCUs. I want us to see this. Did it pop up? It did. Yeah. I've been on here a long time. Been on here over an hour. This is inside the whites only community in Arkansas. Members have espoused racist and anti-Semitic views and repeatedly praised Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. They have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars and their movement is growing. I don't know if any of you guys have heard about this. Have y'all heard about any of this? A group of Americans are building a whites-only community in rural Arkansas. They call the return of the land, but they're calling it the return of the land. Return to the land. They believe that white people in Western culture are facing extinction due to an influx of immigrants and minorities. And according to the group's founder, access to the community is open only to people of white European ancestry who share common views on topics such as segregation, abortion, and gender identity. Video footage shared by the group on its social media account shows a bucolic setting with animals and children running around their 160-acre site while members of the community build timber frame homes, churches, and other facilities. A few dozen people are already living there full time, says Eric Arwell, the group's president. Though the organization claims that return to the land is nothing more than a peaceful settlement of like-minded people, the online histories of the group's leaders tell a different story. Members have expounded virulently racist and anti-Semitic views and repeatedly praised Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. One of the leaders says he is currently under criminal investigation in Ecuador. Orwell himself has spoken about the coming of a second Hitler and praised KKK leader David Duke. He is also closely aligned to an international network of far-right influencers, extremists, and white supremacists, including Thomas Sowell, a neo-Nazi living in Australia, who was the founder of a group that influenced the Christchurch, New Zealand shooter. Despite this, the Return to the Land community has been lauded by far-right influencers and has already raised hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations. Return to the Land, which was first reported by The Forward and Sky News, is actively scouting for other locations to create a network of similar communities across the country, with a development in Missouri apparently in the works. Inspired in part by the Silicon Valley-based concept of the network state and by a white separatist community in South Africa known as Orania. The group promotes itself on its website as a community designed to promote strong families with common ancestry and raise the next generation in an environment that reflects our traditional values. They use a lot of innocuous language. Morgan Moon, a researcher at the Anti-Defamation League Center of Extremists, tells Wired, instead of saying they want to make a white ethnic community, they say they want to make a strong community of common ancestry. But at the same time, when we see their promotional videos and propaganda, what we see is that when they are split, y'all, I would get to a simple word, I can't say it. Duplicitating the falling modern society, they use imagery consisting of minority groups or the LGBT plus community. When they are showing the idealized parallel society that they're attempting to create with Return to the Land, they tend to only use the white irony imagery. Orwell, who has spent years building up an audience of like-minded followers on social media, primarily on YouTube, where he speaks about Western culture and philosophy. In 2023, a group of Orwell's followers decided to buy the 160-acre plot in rural Arkansas. They chose this location because Orwell lives nearby. The property was relatively cheap and the building regulations were lenient. The county is over 90% white, which was also a deciding factor, says Orwell, who also claims to be a classically trained musician who previously played in Xi'an, a Chinese performing arts group ran by Falun Gong, a religious movement. Return to the Land set up a private membership association, and those seeking to join have to go through a number of steps in order to verify their identity and heritage. You fill out a questionnaire that gives us the initial idea where you're coming from, your values, who you are, your background, and then there's a phone interview, and we make admission decisions on a case-by-case basis, Orwell tells Wired. The application form for Return to the Land asks potential members to outline their ancestry and also respond to a range of questions about their social and cultural viewpoints, including whether they support foreign immigration, transgenderism, COVID-19 vaccines, and segregation. It also asks, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? With answers ranging from every day, at least once, to a few times a week, probably and never. The initial process only gets you approved to access private group chats on Telegram. For those who decide they want to move to Arkansas and become part of the community, vetting for that level of involvement is much more thorough, says Orwell, though he declined to say what that process involves beyond conducting a background check. Peter Cease, the group secretary, tells Walls that the association has 300 members across the country. Orwell says they have interest not only from America, but also people from other continents. Despite being the face of the development, Orwell does not live in the return to the land community. I've not developed my homestead sufficiently to allow my 4 children to live safely there full time. So I have a house 15 minutes away, but I am working towards moving into the community, he says. In recent weeks, Oriol's past has been closely scrutinized. Researchers found videos in which Oriol performed in online scorn videos with his then wife, Caitlin, who is now a resident on the Return to the Land compound. Orwell has condemned scorn addiction, claiming that it emasculated young men. In my early 20s, I did plenty of things that I am now totally against, says Orwell, who confirmed that on X that he appeared in the videos. I consider myself I don't know what that word is, and psychedelics, and didn't respect traditional actual morality. The lack of guidance I had and the way I threw it off my early adult life informed the importance I later placed on traditional values. To this day, the community has raised approximately $300,000 from land sales, according to the financial analysts conducted by ADL's Center on Extremists. I'm not going to continue to read this, but I will tell you this, because this is a very long article. I will tell you this. These people have, good morning, Sergeant Charge. These people have raised a lot of money. Every time they have a child, they create a GoFundMe. When a baby is born into that property or that Return to the Land, they have a GoFundMe, and they give them thousands and thousands of dollars to have children. Let me see if I can find a YouTube video on Return to the Land. My YouTube is going a little slow this morning. She's back. I want to do a short video. Let's see. Let's play this one.
America was settled through the founding of self-sufficient, intentional communities, created by Europeans seeking freedom to live according to their values and associate with those who were like-minded. The Pilgrims, the Quakers, the Amish,
No blacks, no Jews, no gays. High up in the Ozark Hills, in the state of Arkansas, dozens of people have been working hard, building houses and a new type of community. It's called Return to the Land, and it is a town open to white people only. They are millennials and Gen Z, and this is a new update of age-old prejudice.
what we've done here is establish a place where we have control over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving, our culture.
And that culture, effectively, we're saying this is a white culture, a whites-only place.
White American culture.
But what this sounds like is bringing back segregation. Is that a fair assessment?
It's free association. So we're not trying to keep other people down. This is a small settlement in the middle of the Ozarks.
But they are being kept out, even if...
you don't let everyone into your home.
Around 40 people live here. Hundreds more from across the world have paid to be members. And while the men do the physical labor, The women take care of the children who live here full time.
It can be a very loving community if you're part of the community, but if you're black or if you're Jewish or if you're gay, you can't be part of that community.
They can have their own communities, and they already do.
You might be wondering how any of this can be legal. Return to the Land is structured as a private members association, which they believe allows them to discriminate on the basis of ethnicity, along with other factors. That has yet to be tested in the courts and may well fail. The Arkansas Attorney General has said his office is now reviewing the matter as a result of our reporting, and that there is no room for racial discrimination in Arkansas or anywhere in a free society.
Just so y'all are aware, baby, they do whatever they can do to stay away from us. But here's what I'm gonna tell you, what my best friends say: wherever they go, we coming. As crazy as that sounds, wherever they go, we coming. Good morning, Sergeant Charge. Yes, wherever they go, we coming. Y'all, that's pretty much all I have for today. He said all those racist rectors. I don't want to be random people. Me either. I ain't coming. I'm not going where you at. Here's my thing on that. You want to go and start your own community, and you want it to be purebred European. Here's what you got to do, though. You can't use nothing that was created by any other minorities. You can only use gas that was made by Europeans. You can only use products that were made by Europeans. You're only gonna have hot dogs. You ain't gonna have no gas. You're gonna be back on horse and buggy. That sound like what you're gonna be doing. You hot dogs and hot dog buns. That's all they're gonna have. Because we already know they ain't got no culture. Remember, everything I'm saying is alleged in my opinion. Y'all ain't got no culture. So you want to go back to the land and only let people who have European descent, they have this specialized ancestry. Yeah, you're gonna all have every one of y'all. Let's get some DNA and see if it all go back to the motherland. I guarantee you. It all is going to fly on back to the motherland. Before I leave today, my last thing I want to do, I saw this, Stacey Adams had a message, and I think we all should hear it. Let's listen.
Trump and the Republicans quietly created the first wave of death panels. I'm not being hyperbolic. They are launching a pilot program that uses artificial intelligence to decide whether Medicare patients get certain treatments. That means an algorithm, not your doctor, can say yes or no to care, to lower quality of life and the potential of inadequate medical treatment. But unlike the histrionics around the Affordable Care Act, private tech companies will actually get a cut of the money they save by denying treatment. The more care they block, the more they profit. At the very same time, Elon Musk is rewriting his AI chatbot Grok to parrot right-wing talking points. That's the same AI that spit out Nazi slogans before he pulled it back. If you've read my latest novel, Coded Justice, you know this is dangerous. When algorithms become the tools of autocrats, they become weapons used against the people. Medicare is our nation's promise to our elderly, but under this authoritarian regime, guaranteed healthcare for seniors is being secretly morphed into private insurance that can discriminate, and truth itself is being rewritten through algorithms. It's dystopian, it's wrong, and it's already happening in the pilot states of Arizona, New Jersey, Ohio, Oklahoma, Texas, and Washington. This is step 7 in the autocrats' playbook: weaponize technology to strip away rights from the vulnerable, to control what people believe, and decide who counts. If we stay quiet, it won't stop with Medicare. It's another step towards autocracy. And our health and our democracy are on the line. So speak up.
Hope you heard that. Medicare, most of us pay into it, right? It's Miss AKA says, I'm on Medicare. I have Medicare. Yes, I said what I said. Damn. When you think about Medicare is a insurance per se that you pay into through your paychecks, and it is something that most people go to rely on for healthcare as they age. And it's unfortunate that Medicare is being targeted. And they're using bots and computers and AI generated things to decide whether or not you can have certain medicines, certain procedures. And as Stacey Adams said, it's going to cause certain death. And I'm being very serious. So educate yourselves on what's going on with this. We've got to stay above, we got to fly above the radar. We got to stay on top of what's going on in our world. That is something we need to make sure we're voting against. They are practicing that in several states, and they're practicing it in my states where I work at. And I see this in healthcare. And we've got to make sure that we are doing our best to give our best to our seniors. You guys, I can't express enough what we have to stay on task with, what we need to be listening to and watching out for. That's today's morning scoop, Saturday morning scoop with Lady Rowe. I hope you guys had a good time. We are almost 2 hours in. I did not think I had enough information for 2 hours, but somehow or another, we did 2 hours. And I am so grateful that you guys joined me today. I am, what she says, is Medicaid more vulnerable than Medicare? Good question. But I do believe Medicare is definitely more vulnerable because of who it serves. Most of the people who Medicare serves are older, right? The very fact that every year they come out with more information, you can subscribe to Medicare Complete, Medicare Advantage, Medicare this, Medicare that, it confuses the elderly, right? So you have even my brother, who just recently signed up for Medicare, called me and he's like, which one do you think I should take? This one does this one. This one does this. And I say, well, you know, how often do you go to the doctor? Will this suit your needs? Will this handle that? And this and that and the other. And he's, he was giving me his feedback. Well, I think you should take this one. Medicare Advantage is probably going to be your biggest what the biggest thing we should do. But yeah, I believe Medicare is, to just answer that point blankly, I believe Medicare is more vulnerable. I think Medicaid is expendable, right? It can be gone away with because it is mostly state funded and supplemented by the government. But Medicare is your own money that is controlled by the government. There is no state in the middle. It's all done by the government. And I really believe that it serves a vulnerable population. So I believe it's more vulnerable. That's just my take on that. You said my patient has both Medicare and Medicaid, and a lot of elderlies do, because Medicaid will supplement what Medicare does not pay for. And believe it or not, a lot of people, because Medicaid has so many facets that fall under the umbrella of Medicaid. In the state where I live in, Medicaid covers long-term care, right? But with the cutbacks from Medicaid, we're going to start seeing nursing homes actually put people out on the streets because Medicaid does not pay for it. Yes, Medicaid would be a supplement in the case of the patient having Medicare, and Medicaid would be their supplement, definitely. You said Medicaid serves the poor and the poor is under attack, as well as, I agree with that. I do agree with that, Michelle. But when I say Medicare is, to me, more under attack because it's your money that is only controlled by the government. There's no one else controlling Medicare but the government. Not the state. Is only controlled by the federal. And it is your money that you pay to get care with. So definitely. Said Medicaid is a supplement. It is a shame. It's pitiful. They're cutting all those Medicaid patients, leaving people out. Girl, it's pitiful. It's pitiful. And I don't think a lot of people realize what's going on in it, and won't realize it until it's not available to them to have for themselves. What other options do the elderly have, for instance? They don't have any other options unless they work a good job and were able to take their insurance into retirement, which most of them don't. most of our elderly. Well, I take that. I have a few patients that, because I work for the feds, it's kind of hard to even say that. But I do see patients that do have their own health insurance, but most of the patients rely upon the government for their insurance. That's just the sad part. I understand your point. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. It's hard either way. Medicaid, like I said, it normally benefits the poor, but it's usually children, right? And then women who are pregnant, and then it supplements a lot of our seniors. Whereas Medicaid is primarily for people 65 and older. Medicare, is primarily for 65 and older people, and it's you pay into it. So you're getting out what you pay, but someone else is controlling it, which is really bad. And you're serving a vulnerable population, whereas children get older, get jobs, get in the workforce, and hopefully become productive citizens. Whereas these older people, this is all they can rely on. And most of our sickly people are older. They have comorbidities. They have a lot of problems that are hereditary, genetics, high blood pressure, diabetes, those things, which require you to be on medicine, right? So without Medicare, how will these people be able to take care of themselves? Without Medicaid, it's the exact same way, but Medicaid only serves a certain amount. A certain group of people. I know people who are sick and can't get Medicaid, right? So they got Medicare because they've gotten, Social Security checks or whatever. But I want you guys to make sure that y'all stay on top of that. Go back and watch that Stacey Abrams TikTok and kind of keep up with what's going on. Keep up what's going on. You said medicine is crucial. It is crucial, Sergeant Charge. It is. You have to have those medicines. If your blood pressure's up, you have diabetes. Let's just go with Damon Dash. He was in the news this week. Let's talk about him. Damon Dash has type 1 diabetes. He developed it as a young man. I want to say this before he even was a teenager. He developed type 1 diabetes, which is one of the harder types of diabetes you can have because it is normally insulin resistant, right? And so he talked about losing his teeth and all that. Just imagine if he was a young man on Medicaid, right? He would need those medicines to keep him, or Medicare. He would need medicines to keep him living, surviving, being able to just function. Otherwise, he would pass on to the other life, to the afterlife. So Medicare is so crucial. It is so crucial. Yes. I'm partially blind and a transplant patient. They took part of my insurance because I work a part-time job. Oh my God. And that's so unfortunate, Brown Girls Rock, because we need those things. We need those. You can, and I say this for most people who need, let's say you're working a job making $30,000 a year, which isn't any money. $30,000 a year, you're just really living from paycheck to paycheck. If you're able to have a car, you may just have a car. It may not be nothing fancy. It may just be a car. And then the very fact that you have to pay your bills, your rent is exponentially high. And this is high, right? And I cannot afford to stay at home. So I have to have a job. I have to work. I have to work. You're going to lose food stamps. You're going to lose your insurance. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. I can't wrap my mind around that. Yeah, and I have to work. Exactly. You have to work because you have to live. It's like they expect people not to have any type of, you can't have anything. Same way with AFDC back in the day. They gave these people a check, but your man can't live here, right? Not that you can't get a job and the economy's bad. And I just, at the beginning of this Saturday Scoop, I mentioned about layoffs primarily in this area from those companies, right? So what are they to do? Because most of the time when you get laid off, you lose, not most of the time, every time when you lay off, you lose your job, you lose your benefits. That includes insurance. It's what they call the benefits. That's it. And sometimes you just fall off of it. And it's not fair. It's not fair to anybody. Yeah, stay strong, Brown Girls Rock. I'm going to keep you in my prayer because regardless of what we believe, God provides. He is our provider. We have to know that our provisions are not done by man. They are done by God. And before we go, I just feel the need that we need to pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for allowing us to come together like minds and just be able to go over the things that have happened in our world, Lord, to be able to understand and be able to learn of what is going on out here around us, Lord, so that we may be able to be vigilant, Lord, and be able to be aware of our surroundings. You said to watch and to pray, Lord. So as we watch, God, we pray, and we are watching for things to come, God, and that we can be better citizens of this United States and wherever we are across the globe, God. We ask that you will protect us, Lord, as we go throughout this weekend. Watch over us, lead us, guide us, give us what to say, tell us when to shut up. God, we ask these blessings in thy son Jesus' name because you are the great provider, Lord, and we are dependent upon you. Without you, we have nothing. In you do we put all of our trust in. We don't put our trust in man. We don't put our trust in government. We put all of our trust into you, God, because you are the great provider. You guys have a great day, a great evening. Make sure to watch Love and Marriage Huntsville tonight. And if no one told you today they love you, I love you, and there ain't a thing you can do about it. Amen, and have a great evening. Bye-bye.